This is the Qtv Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Loliam Camara. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. As the Gambia prepares for its presidential and other elections, the Independent Electoral Commission IEC has reported around 2,000 cases of double registration since the beginning of its ongoing supplementary voter registration exercise. A high-level forum on strengthening security and stabilization in the Sahel and West Africa opened in Banjul on Thursday, bringing together regional and international stakeholders to address rising insecurity and governance challenges. As the world commemorates World Spanish Language Day today, 23rd April, Cuba's ambassador to the Gambia, Her Excellency Carmelina Ramirez Rodriguez, has underscored the significance of the Spanish language and its role in connecting cultures. The Gambia Supreme Islamic Council has concluded a week-long training program for 100 imams to strengthen their capacity to deliver messages that inspire peace, unity, and social cohesion. The ECOWAS Commission has commenced a sensitization mission in the Gambia as part of efforts to implement a regional assistive device program designed to address the critical gaps in mobility and communication tools for disabled children. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. As the Gambia gears up for the presidential and other elections, registration to vote is a crucial part of the process. 2 weeks after it started, the Independent Electoral Commission (IEC) has recorded approximately 2,000 cases of double registration since the start of its ongoing supplementary voter registration exercise. Jacqueline Colley tells us more.
The supplementary voter registration exercise, which started on the 8th of April 2026 and is due to end on the 21st of May 2026, continues to attract a lot of interest and attention. So far, 36,217 eligible voters have been registered since the beginning of the supplementary registrations. Despite these numbers, the Commission has recorded over 2,000 double registration of individuals. The chairman of the IEC disclosed this at the Commission's monthly stakeholder forum, where officials also provided updates on the progress of the registration process. Joseph Colley, the chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, says efforts are intensifying to detect and eliminate duplicate entries in the voter registration to preserve the credibility and integrity of the electoral process.
It is a matter of concern to the Commission that some voters who were already registered in 2021 are showing up to be registered again. This amounts to double registration, which is a serious offense under the electoral laws of the country. We identified over 2,000 cases of double registration, despite our massive voter education and sensitization efforts.
The chairman also expressed concern over what the Commission describes as an undue interference by some political actors during the registration exercise.
The Commission would like to register its concern over undue interference in the registration process by some political actors. Such unwarranted political activism has the potential to hamper the smooth conduct of the voter registration exercise and impact on the very integrity of the electoral process. The activities of some aspiring political parties, which are yet to be registered as fully fledged and bona fide political parties, are quite worrying.
Meanwhile, issues surrounding the authenticity of birth certificates have also surfaced. Authorities reported cases where individuals presented documents bearing identical serial numbers, while others submitted certificates deemed not genuine. Lamin B. Fati, registrar at the Civil Registration and Vital Statistics, clarify.
Since February 28 to date, anybody who is claiming to register and giving the elongated 2023 to date, anybody who is trying to say I'm using elongated birth certificate is not from the Ministry of Health. The government has not been producing such documents Since 2020, when we stopped supplying, we stopped the stock requisition from Gambia Printing Corporation, because they are the only body that were legally allowed to print this document, national document for us.
The IEC reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring a transparent and credible voter registration process, urging the public and all stakeholders to adhere to the rules governing the exercise. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jacqueline Collie.
A high-level forum on strengthening security and stabilization in the Sahel and West Africa opened in Banjul on Thursday, bringing together regional and international stakeholders to address rising insecurity and governance challenges. Here is my report. The African Union Mission for Mali and the Sahel, Miss Sahel, in collaboration with key international partners, including the European Union and several special envoys for the Sahel, organized the forum under the theme Strengthening Security and Stabilization in the Sahel and West Africa, Bridging Good Governance, Regional Cooperation and Multilateral Responses. Officials say the meeting comes at a critical moment for the region as the Sahel and West Africa continue to face escalating threats from terrorism and violent extremism, compounded by fragile political tensions and the growing risk of instability. These overlapping challenges underscored the urgent need for coordinated and sustainable responses. The African Union High Representative and Head of Miss Sahel, Dr. Momodu Tangara, stressed the importance of multilateral cooperation in addressing the region's complex and interconnected crises.
The African Union does not come to this workshop with the pretense that these problems are simple or that Miss Sahel alone can resolve them. What we bring is the conviction that coordinated, principle, and people-centered approaches pursued together can reverse these trends.
The president of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, underscored the need for stronger collaboration among member states. He noted that regional mechanisms must be fully utilized and reinforced to enhance coordination, strengthen the negotiation frameworks, and ensure collective security arrangements.
We should use those institutional setups to continue to serve the West African people. We have therefore agreed to ensure that our people continue to enjoy the gains of regional integration that have been built over 50 years.
Participants will critically assess existing strategies and explore alternative approaches to responding to emerging threats, particularly in countries such as Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, where insecurity remains most acute. Solidarity messages were delivered by the European Union Special Representative for the Sahel, Ambassador Joao Carvino, and Ambassador Mohamed El Amin Chouaf, the Chief of Staff to the Chairperson of the African Union Commission. Both emphasized that the region's challenges are deeply interconnected and cannot be addressed in isolation. Professor Pierre Gomez is the Gambia's Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology.
In our quest for stability, we appreciate the vital role of our multilateral partners. We call upon the international community to support our efforts through coordinated investment in human security. This means moving beyond practical military aid to supporting long-term stabilization projects.
Participants stressed that military interventions alone are not sufficient. They emphasized the need to restore state authority while rebuilding trust with communities through inclusive governance, improved communication, and stronger partnerships with local populations. For QTV News, Loliam Kamara. As the world commemorates World Spanish Language Day today, 23rd April, Cuba's ambassador to the Gambia, Her Excellency Carmelina Ramirez Rodriguez, has underscored the significance of the occasion, highlighting the global influence of Spanish and its role in connecting cultures. Yafatu Gay has more.
The origins of World Spanish Language Day are rooted in the United Nations commitment to multilingualism. In 2010, The United Nations Department of Public Information launched a series of language days to celebrate each of the organization's 6 official languages: Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish. The aim is to promote equal use of these languages, raise awareness of their histories and cultural contributions, and encourage respect for linguistic diversity. Interestingly, the day is also World English Language Day, celebrating another of the world's most widely spoken languages. Spanish continues to influence global communication, culture, and everyday life. Common expressions such as hola and gracias are recognized and used far and beyond Spanish-speaking countries, reflecting the language's far-reaching global impact. Speaking on the significance of the day, Cuba's ambassador to the Gambia highlighted the global influence of Spanish and its role in connecting cultures.
So, the importance of the language is because more than 6 million people in the world are speaking Spanish. Almost whole Latin America, except Brazil and North America, and also including Guinea, Equatorial Guinea, and Spain. So more than 6 million people around the world. Is the second language at the UN. So it's like a language that everywhere you can find people speaking Spanish.
The day was selected in honor of Miguel Cervantes, the celebrated Spanish novelist, poet, and playwright, best known for Don Quixote, widely regarded as the first modern novel and one of the greatest works of fiction ever written. Cervantes died on 22nd April 1616. These elements highlight not only the literacy heritage of the Spanish language, but also its continued resilience as global means of communication and cultural expression. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafazigay.
We'll now go for a commercial break. When we return, we have more national and international news stories. Do stay tuned. Welcome back, and this is QTV News, and I am Loliam Kamara. The Gambia Supreme Islamic Council has concluded a week-long training program for 100 imams to strengthen their capacity to deliver messages that inspire peace, unity, and social cohesion. The initiative focused on enhancing preaching methods to address contemporary societal challenges while promoting harmony and mutual understanding across communities. Here is Usman Jatta.
The role of imams and religious leaders in promoting peace and guiding communities has become increasingly vital, particularly as the Gambia prepares for the December 2026 electoral cycle. The program, which began on April 15th, focused on strengthening the capacity of imams in effective preaching methodologies, with particular emphasis on peace building, unity, reconciliation, and social cohesion within communities.
ومن خلال هذه المداولات والمناقشات.
President of the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council, Sheikh Isa Fode Dabo, commended the participants for their commitment and sacrifice, urging them to apply the knowledge gained in their respective communities.
This is the first phase of the training, but we are planning to have another session maybe in 1 week time for another batch of 100 imams and preachers. Alhamdulillah. The main objective of this seminar is to discuss with the scholars and the imams how to support our communities in teaching basic principles of Islam. And also we have a topic concerning basic morals. So these are the things that Muslims, need in these days. So alhamdulillah, through this seminar, we have agreed with the participants that they will go back and implement all the issues that we agree on.
Osman Farlala, the representative of Direct Aid to Gambia, expressed appreciation to both the government and the Supreme Islamic Council for their collaboration in delivering the initiative.
We have two groups. This is the first group. They came for training, and we are working with the Islamic Council together. Inshallah, next one also will be with the same number, and we'll do it here. And we thank our brothers in the Islamic Council and our brothers also.
Participant Mohammed Bashir Dabo also expressed gratitude, highlighting the importance of continuous learning and the responsibility of religious leaders in shaping society. We are very grateful for this opportunity. The training is important, and when we return to our communities, we shall put it into practice. We will continue to uphold the teachings of the Prophet and the oneness of God. As scholars, we must keep learning and play our role in guiding society. The training underscores the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council's broader efforts to promote Islamic values while fostering peace and stability, particularly at a time when national unity is essential. Osman Jata, QTV News.
The ECOWAS Commission commenced a sensitization mission in the Gambia as part of efforts to implement regional assistive device program designed to address the critical gaps in mobility and communications tool for disabled children across West and Central Africa. Imam Nabuka has the rest of the story.
The ECOWAS program for the provision of assistive devices to children with disabilities is charting a significant path toward inclusive development across West and Central Africa, which has the world's highest regional prevalence of child disability, with roughly 41 million children under 18 living with a disability. Following its successful first and second phases, which targeted Togo, Nigeria, Benin, Sierra Leone and Guinea-Bissau, the mission's presence in the Gambia is part of its third phase scheduled for 2026, which is also looking at Senegal and Guinea as priority areas. In the Gambia, where over 200,000 people live with disabilities, systemic exclusion coupled with the unavailability of communication and mobility tools often restrict independence and access to opportunities. This consultative platform aims to address these challenges by sensitizing key national disability inclusion stakeholders about the ECOWAS support program for the provision of assistive devices to children with disabilities. The goal is to harmonize efforts and gather evidence-based data that will ensure the regional program is effectively implemented and meets the specific needs of disabled Gambian children, ultimately empowering them to contribute fully to the national economy. Here are Dr. Alves Dalmada George, Head of the Social Affairs Division at the ECOWAS Commission, and Alaya Bara, Director of Social Welfare at the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare.
Allow me to assure you that the ECOWAS Commission commitment to providing determined leadership and deploying the necessary resources to assure the success of the social inclusion in the ECOWAS region.
Let me emphasize that inclusion is not a charity, it is a right. Investing in assistive devices for children with disability is an investment in human capital, social cohesion, and national development.
Magistrate Mohamed Kurbali, President of the Gambia Federation of the Disabled, shared that children with disabilities form an integral part of society and should not be disregarded.
I call on all of you to ensuring that we come up tacitly with very, very, very useful assistive devices that will ensure the enhancement of their abilities and potentials in school environments, in classroom, in order to be very successful.
Lamin Mane is a participant and chairman of the National Organization for the Disabled and Orphans.
These challenges can overcome when we together make it possible, and then making sure that we are able to implement what is being written. You know, Africans, we are good in policy making, but they are the worst in implementation. I'm sorry to say this. Implementation goes slowly, But I believe together we can make a change. It is have to be a collective responsibility for all of us to making sure that this project is implemented so that the future generation can benefit from it.
The success of this sensitization mission will move the region closer to the goal of leaving no one behind, aligning with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and national mandates for disability rights. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
And up next is international news. Today, Thursday, April 23rd, nations across the globe commemorated World Book and Copyright Day, highlighting the enduring significance of literature and the vital necessity of protecting intellectual property in an increasingly digital world. Mam Nabuka again.
In 1995, to honor the legacy of literary giants like William Shakespeare and Miguel de Cervantes, among others, World Book and Copyright Day has evolved into a global movement to safeguard intellectual property and foster a culture of reading among younger generations. This year's theme centers on the significance of fostering literacy through multilingualism, which seeks to emphasize that access to books in native languages is a fundamental right and a critical tool to improving educational outcomes, particularly in developing regions. Reading has evolved from a rare skill of ancient elites into a tool for mass empowerment, especially after the printing press expanded access to knowledge and fostered deep reading. Today, although books are widely accessible through digital platforms and audiobooks, quick skimming often replaces deep engagement, contributing to a decline in reading habits, particularly among children. In the Gambia, despite a rich literary heritage shaped by writers such as Landry Peters, Ibu Diba, Tijan Sala, Nana Gray Johnson, and Sally Singate, reading culture is still constrained by low enthusiasm for both academic and leisure reading, as well as limited access to books. In fact, there are very few public libraries in the country. To help address this, Kanifing Municipal Council inaugurated a public library in December 2024. World Book and Copyright Day aims to curb this issue by reinforcing literacy as a fundamental tool of intellectual identity and development, essentially nurturing the habit of reading across nations. And to maintain this momentum, UNESCO designs a World Book Capital each year to promote local reading initiatives. This year, Rabat, Morocco officially begins its tenure as the World Book Capital, taking over the title from Rio de Janeiro. To honor it, Rabat has committed to engaging in a year-long program aimed at strengthening the book industry, improving library access, and bridging the literacy gap through innovative community outreach. As the global book market evolves with AI and digital distribution, the need for stronger copyright frameworks becomes more urgent to ensure authors are fairly protected and compensated. World Book Day 2026 reaffirms that while the medium of reading may change, the impact of a well-told story will remain nurtured and safeguarded. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
Before we end, here's a recap of the headlines. As the Gambia prepares for its presidential and other elections, the Independent Electoral Commission IEC has reported around 2,000 cases of double registration since the beginning of its ongoing supplementary voter registration exercise. A high-level forum on strengthening security and stabilization in the Sahel and West Africa opened in Banjul on Thursday, bringing together regional and international stakeholders to address rising insecurity and governance challenges. As the world commemorates World Spanish Language Day today, 23rd April, Cuba's ambassador to the Gambia, Her Excellency Carmelina Ramirez Rodriguez, has underscored the significance of the Spanish language and its role in connecting cultures. The Gambia Supreme Islamic Council has concluded a week-long training program for 100 imams to strengthen their capacity to deliver messages that inspire peace, unity, and social cohesion. The ECOWAS Commission has commenced a sensitization mission in the Gambia as part of efforts to implement a regional assistive device program designed to address the critical gaps in mobility and communication tools for disabled children. That story by Imam Nabuka brings us to the end of this news bulletin. Do join us again tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching.